Hello. Hello everyone. How are you? I do hope you are all well. It's been a while since I've been able to hop on here. Things have been crazy. I don't even know how to explain it. I've had all intention of hopping on much more regularly to have a chat and update you all, but life has had other plans for me. I'm just fixing this cord so it's not pulling on the camera. One of the things I've been dealing with is I have been really unwell. Not unwell as in virus or not contagious. We don't know what's happening. I had some challenges about September, October, November. I had gone on a weight loss program. I've been desperately trying to lose weight for 5, 6, 7 years now. And everything I've tried, everything I learned over the years, everything I've been taught, none of it was working. So I got into a new program, and it's sort of a multifaceted program. I was going to say holistic, it's not holistic. But the doctor in this program, who's not my regular doctor, he decided I should go on a weight loss medication and Optifast. I don't know if you guys have Optifast overseas, but it's like a meal replacement. There's a shake. They do shakes. There's bars, like muesli bars, I suppose, but they're not muesli bars. And I think you can get soups and desserts. I only ever had the shakes and the bars. But I started this program. I was doing everything they told me. I was doing physiotherapy, hydrotherapy, occupational therapy. I was doing all the things. I was turning up twice a week, every week. I was doing everything they told me to do. And I just became more and more and more unwell. And of course, they just kept saying, you've got to give your body time to adjust. Let your body get used to the medication. Let your body get used to the diet, the meal replacement. You've got to let your body get used to it. Okay, I understand that, but I was just getting more and more and more unwell. The fatigue was getting worse. It was just horrible. I got to a point where I couldn't stand up. I couldn't take 2 steps without having the wind knocked out of me. I felt like I had... Can you hear all those birds? They're rainbow lorikeets primarily. There's I think there might be some scaly-breasted lorries in there as well. It sounds like there's a lot of them here today. They're very pretty birds, but gosh, they're destructive and they're noisy. But anyway, I ended up quite well. I kept saying to the doctor, something's wrong, this isn't right, blah, 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 on and on and on. It got past the point where my body should have adjusted, so I kept really pushing, there's something wrong with me. Turns out I was allergic to the weight loss medication. I was having an allergic reaction to it, so they took me off it. Then I had to give my body time to adjust, and I kept persisting and doing what they told me. I continued to become unwell. So I was also allergic to the Optifast program. I was having an allergic reaction to that, so I had to stop that. So it took my body weeks then to try and get back to some sort of normality. It was so out of whack. That was in December. I continued to decline. I did continue to become more and more unwell. The fatigue worsened, the breathlessness worsened. We couldn't work it out. I was still going to hydrotherapy and physiotherapy twice a week. Anyway, last week I became, like, from Australia Day, I got really unwell again, like even worse than ever, and just declined. And from Australia Day to the 7 days after, I lost nearly 10 kilos. We still don't know why. I'm still losing weight, but I saw my doctor on Wednesday and he's given me a new pain medication and I feel like a new person. I can walk around, I can function, I can think again, I can speak, I can enunciate without slurring, I'm just feeling so much better. So today, before I've come and sat down here, I've been chopping wood with an axe. I've never been able to do that. I'm feeling stronger every day. I've worked out the most effective way for me to chop the wood. So I was always taught to raise the axe above my shoulder, my right shoulder, because I'm right-handed, and bring it down. And no matter what I did, that damn axe would bounce straight back off that timber. And I'd either end up getting so frustrated or I'd end up on the floor rolling around in fits of laughter, laughing at myself, thinking this is ridiculous. But today I've worked out if I bring that axe above my head equally with both hands and hold right down the end, the butt of the axe, and bring it down into that timber, it hardly takes any effort and it almost goes straight through. I'm chopping hardwood, mind you. It's very hardwood. It's like, it's eucalyptus, I think I'm chopping redwood at the moment, or blue gum. Might be blue gum. It's very dense. It's very heavy. These pieces that I'm picking up are at least 30 kilos each before I'm chopping them. They're huge. They're very heavy. They're not huge. They're just very heavy. So I'm so proud of myself that I've worked out a way to cut. I'm feeling stronger. I was only able to cut for about an hour. I started to get a bit dizzy. My blood pressure dropped, so I stopped. And I've come up to show you this. So I'm feeling really, really pleased with myself that I've been able to do that. But anyway, in the meantime, you can see this big, there's all this stuff. I'll try and turn around. This is only a portion of what I have acquired in the last couple of weeks. I've got a massive vintage haul. There's some of it that I've acquired for myself. Some of it I'm trying to help a aged care facility clear out their cupboards and try and get them a bit of money. They're trying to help me as well, so they've asked me to keep a percentage to pay for fuel, and I mean it takes me over an hour to drive there, so they want me to cover my fuel costs, the cost of the soaker that I'm using, you know, just a few other things that I'm using to prepare their items, and a little bit for my time. I mean, I'm never going to get the time I've put into it, and that's fine. You know, if I was in a better position, I'd donate the entire lot to them. But they want to help me, I want to help them. If I can get them a bit of money to go towards their wish list, that's what I'm going to do. So I know they've got a list of things that they'd like to buy to help the residents. This is for the high care wing. I know from when I was there, I used to volunteer there and worked there briefly. One of the things I used to do was repair some of the residents' clothing. So there were some residents who either had no family to come and bring them new clothing, if you know, like here's an example. There was one fellow who primarily wore pajamas because he was pretty well bedridden. You know, they'd put him in the bucket chair sometimes, and you know, he was pretty well, he couldn't walk around. So a lot of the time he was in pajamas, and those pajamas were threadbare. So I'd patch them up as much as I could. You know, I'd layer and layer and layer and patch these pajama pants up and his tops. But they'd get to a point where there's nothing else you can do. You know, they're so fragile and so brittle and so... But I kept patching as much as I could. Now this particular fellow had no family, so he had no one to buy him a new pair of pajamas. And the facility weren't allowed to buy for him for some reason. I remember there was a reason at the time, and it was very valid. I don't remember what it was, but they weren't allowed to buy for him. So all we could do really was keep repairing. So they have a sewing machine there. They have an overlocker. Now that overlocker's so old. It's nearly 40 years old. It doesn't work anymore, and it's not worth fixing it up. So one of the things I'd like to get is a new overlocker. It probably wouldn't hurt them to get a new sewing machine, because when I was there I noticed the other day the sewing machine must be at least 30, 35 years old, maybe older. It still works, it's a good machine. I know they had other things on their list, but I didn't see the list because they couldn't find it, so I don't know what else they wanted. But I think it'd be good if I can at least raise enough money for them to get a new overlocker. So in saying that, I'm going to go through some of the stuff I've got here, and I'll let you know which things I'm trying to sell to help them. But first, I'm going to be all over the place here, guys, so bear with me, please. I've got, as I said, some of the vintage stuff I've bought for my own collection, some of the stuff I'm doing for the aged care facility. And it's not in any order. So recently I bought a piece of linen, some little crocheted squares, and some vintage transfers from Nairi, from I think it's Nairi's Bits and Bobbins. And I apologise, Nairi, if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. I actually googled how to pronounce your name, so if I've got it wrong, please blame Google. Please blame me, probably, for not asking you directly, I guess. So, lovely little note from Nairi, and this beautiful piece. The colour of this is just gorgeous. I love this. This beautiful piece of linen. Look at this. So this is going to go in my own private stash. I really like that. And then the reason I asked for the transfers was two reasons. I've got a lot of salvaged vintage linen that I've been hanging on to from different projects. And I keep thinking it's a shame to just toss out that linen, or not toss it, I wouldn't toss it. I just didn't quite know what to use it for. And I kept thinking it'd be good if I could design my own stitcheries. And I've tried a few times, I've never been happy with what I've drawn. But I always wanted something Australiana, and I have tried. I'll try and dig it out. I know where it is actually. A few weeks ago I tried to draw the Sydney Harbour Bridge so I could stitch it just in line work. Oh my goodness, I haven't done a great job. But Nairi had these. We've got the emu family. Little emus up here, but then we've got bunnies. I mean, bunnies are a pest in this country. Then we've got a cockatoo. That to me looks like a sulphur-crested cockatoo, which is a native bird. This to me looks like a cockatiel or a quarian, which is a native bird. Then we've got swans. I'm going to say they're black swans because they're native. Black swans are native to here, to this area. Then we've got a koala and her joey. and a kangaroo up there. Sorry, I'm just making sure I don't drop these. The kookaburra, Australian kookaburra, and some wattle. And then we've got this. To me looks like, maybe I was going to say rosella, but it doesn't really look like a rosella. It looks a bit more like a, I don't know, I'm going to say rosella for now. Eastern rosella, let's say that. This looks a bit like a bridled nail-tailed wallaby, that one. And this is a lyrebird. So for years, like years, I have been trying to get Australiana on linen. And I did a while back buy a stitched doily from memory with a koala on it. And I'm pretty sure I bought a stamped linen a while ago with koala on it. So I was really happy with that. I love that. I haven't used them yet. And then these are the little, these are so much better than I expected, these little crocheted doilies. I thought they were bigger, and I'm glad they're not, because that's pretty well just what I was hoping. Look at these little filet work doilies from Nairi. Now, wouldn't they make fantastic pockets in a needle book? So I was really pleased with those. And then, of course, being the kind, lovely person that Nairi is, she threw in a little, where's the front? Little cotton doily, which is very pretty. And then this transfer book. This is amazing. So we've got, looks a bit like a tiger lily or something to me. An iris, it's hard to get it in the shot. But I like the test pattern. It's got the cherry blossoms, look at them. I'd like to stitch those. And then we've got this bouquet of different flowers. I can see a poppy and some daisies. Well, it looks like poppies and daisies. And look, we've got pansies. I love pansies, especially embroidered. So I'll definitely be trying to do one of those. And then we've got, I don't know if you guys can see these. There's some poppies, different poppies on this page. We've got lilies over here. And that one up there looks like a morning glory. Got carnations, daffodils, tulip, I suppose, roses. Then we've got these sort of folk art style flowers, little rosebuds here. This is a cute little bouquet. Fuchsias. Got some holly. More lilies over here. So you get the gist. There's quite a few more in there. So that was just gorgeous and a beautiful surprise. And then I also got this button card, which is very nice. And this, look at this. I love this. Look at that. This vintage thread. How cool is that? So that's one lot of new stuff. Then, maybe I should start that way. Oh goodness, there's so much stuff here. I just don't know which way to go. I'll show you this bit first, I think, so I can move it out of the way. This is one of the things I'm trying to sell for the aged care facility. It's a big roll of, what's it called? Sheets. That's the right word, isn't it? Why does that seem like that's not the correct word? You know, when it was big in the 80s and 90s, you'd get the Sheridan sheets. I think this is Dry Glow brand, because the other ones that were with it were Dry Glow. And they often had ruffles on them. I believe this is ready to put the ruffle on. So I've got this big roll of this ruffle fabric, and it is, let's have a look. Oops, that's a bit big. So it is about 32 centimeters wide, and then I've got meters of it. Meters and meters and meters of it. I have put some in, I've made some vintage sheet packs, bundles. Here's an example. So I had a few vintage sheets. So look, that's a piece of that on the bottom there. But then this piece here, this piece, this piece, and this piece. So those four are fat quarters. Oh, sorry, they're not even in the bloody shot. So this bottom piece is a piece of this. These four are fat quarters. They're all different. Some beautiful vintage sheets here. They're all a similar colorway. They're all sort of peachy, orangey, neutral colors. This one's got some rose and purple in it, but they're all very similar. And then these bits up here are bits that I had in the stash that weren't big enough to make fat quarters, so I've put as large pieces as I can in there. So this particular bundle has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different bits of vintage sheeting in it. I've sold a few of those. Thank you guys who've purchased those. But yes, I've still got this great big piece of, my damn thing keeps falling down. As much as I tighten it, doesn't seem to want to stay. So I've still got this big roll of vintage sheeting fabric that is, what did I say, 32 centimeters across from here to here, and you can see I've got meters of it. So this is one of the things I'm trying to sell for the aged care facility. So if you think you might like to buy some of that, I've got some of that. I've listed some. I haven't listed it like that actually. No, I haven't listed it yet on my Instagram page. But if you pop over there, there should be a link in my bio, my YouTube bio. It's Gladys and Maude Unearthed. And yeah, as I said, I haven't listed that yet, but if you're interested in any of that, just send me a message, okay? I've also got all different kinds of lace, and this is just a fraction. If this sells, I can get a lot more. Most of the ones left though are, they're not cotton, they're like this sort of thing. So I've got this lace. Some of them there's meters and meters and meters left, some of them there's just small amounts. So I do have a couple of packs listed on Instagram. They got 3 different kinds in the packs. They're only a meter each. They're there, but if you want to buy the individual lace by the meter, this one's quite pretty actually. It's nice and soft. What's that? Look at that. Isn't that pretty? It's they're all, nearly everything I've got from the aged care facility, as far as the laces and the fabrics, they're all the ones, most of the ones, the majority of the ones that I've come across, they're all dated between 1990 and 1995. Most of them are 1995. So this would be, I'd say 90s, early 90s era. I mean, in reality, I guess the shop could have had older stock. You know, you buy stock like this, you don't sell it all that year, do you? So some of it, and I don't know which shop it came from. There used to be a quilt store up there in that area that I don't know if it came from that store or not. What on earth is that? Oh, it's part of the thing. This little purple one, I've got this in quite a few different colours, and I've made some packs up. I think there's 3 metres in each pack, and I've done 6 different colours. But if you want to buy them on their own, just send me a message. So I've got these ones, a few. There's a pink one in it, like a dusty rosy pink. So yeah, I've got that in a few different colours. Then we've got, and again, I've got more inside, more different ones inside. I've just brought out a few to show you because there's so many. Here's another one. Look at this one. It's got that similar top to the ones I just showed you, but then it's got this ruffle at the bottom. So that's another one. There's still a few metres of that one left, quite a few metres. Let me just tuck that back in so it doesn't unravel. This one's a bit unusual. This one to me is very 90s. This dusty pink, and it's got this fabric bias at the top. It's a bit cute. So I think I've put that in a couple of the packs, or at least one, and then I've got it. You can buy it by the metre. It'd be great if I could sell a lot of this for the aged care facility. This one, this is interesting. This one, it's a bit funny. We've got all this stuff up here, see? So what I did, it came, of course, it came like this. So it's all gathered on this funny band. Oh, hello Christy, how are you? Good to see you here. So I've got this funny bit that was on this band, and no one liked it like that, so I've unpicked the band very carefully so I didn't damage the lace. And this is what comes out of it if I unpick it. That's quite nice. Oh, that's good. Is it hot over your way? It's dreadfully muggy here today. So I've got that piece as well. There's plenty of that. And again, I've put that in some of the packs, or it's available by the metre, whether gathered or not gathered. I don't mind unpicking it if you want it done that way. Then we've got, what have we got next? I like this one. This is one of my favourites. It's not cotton, but look at this. It's quite pretty. This is in white. Oh, 28, I reckon. I haven't checked the temperature, but it feels like it's at least 32 today. Mind you, I've been chopping wood, so it may not be as hot as what I think it is, but it is very humid. So I've got this one, and again, this is in some of the packs, but as you can see, there's quite a few metres there still, so I can sell it by the metre, or, you know, however much you want. We can do that. There's that one in white. Then we've got, and again, I haven't brought them all out. I'm just bringing some samples. That one I just showed you in the white, I've got that in an off-white as well. This one's quite pretty. It reminds me of a bridal lace, this one. Quite a heavy. So there's still quite a few metres that, look, I think I've written 5.5 metres available. Some of them I've measured, some of them I haven't. And again, that's in some of the packs I've listed on Instagram, or I haven't listed it by the metre, but if you're interested, here we go. Here's the off-white one. Like a bone. It's quite pretty. Same design as the white one, but not white. It's more of an off-white or a cream. I quite like that one. It's growing on me more and more the more I look at it. Then we've got this one. There's not much of this one left. I think there's 2.5 metres left, and I didn't like it at first, but the more I look at it, the more it grows on me. It's sort of a light peachy colour. I don't know how I can show you the full, look at that. Very typical 90s era, wide lace, but it's just stunning. Let's have a look. Where did I put my tape measure? my son keeps borrowing my sewing tape measures, and I've ended up with my dad's construction tape measure. What do we got? About 12 and a half centimetres wide, this one. So it's quite a wide one. There's only 2.5 metres left of that one. But that one's lovely. And again, I think I've put a piece of that in one of the packs, maybe 2 of them. Or I've got that 2.5 metres left if you'd just like to buy that on its own. And I apologise if you guys are commenting. I can't see them. I'm too busy looking at this. I'm not looking at the screen. I just happened to catch yours, Christy, out of the corner of my eye. Okay, I've got some... I'm going to have to cut that bit off because it looks like there's a bit of... I've got some insertion lace, and again, I've got more inside. These are just an example. So I've got this insertion lace that would go on top of the fabric. And then I've got this one. This is a typical... I need to cut that bit off there where that grubby bit is. When I was in high school, my aunt made my sister, my cousins and I all matching dresses. They were all slightly different. They were floral fabrics. They were a big rage at the time. They had a drop waist, and it was a gathered skirt, a big piece of broderie onglaze at the bottom, and then there was no sleeves. It had a round neck, or a bit, you know, a bit of a dipped round neck with a little broderie onglaze lace around the neck and the sleeve, sleeveless, so around the sleeve. But in the front she did all these pin tucks, and then this insertion lace, and then more pin tucks. And it was a fine floral. In fact, some of these florals here I've got out of that place are very similar to what she used, and they're the same era. So it just, when I saw the florals and this insertion lace, I just had this massive flashback to that time in my life when my aunt would sit and sew us all these matching dresses in high school. So yes, I've got some insertion lace as well, which is all cotton. And again, there's more inside, different styles inside. I've got this beautiful gimp, and it's much nicer quality than what I've seen modern gimp. I don't know if this is older than the 90s. I'm assuming because it's on this card, it's come out of the same shop and it's probably the same era, but the quality is just gorgeous. Very nice gimp, that one. But this next gimp, I have to show you this. Looking at the card, the way this is written down here, the way the card has got all these age marks which the others don't, and even just the quality of the gimp, I reckon this is more closer to 1950s, this stuff. It's absolutely stunning. It is so soft and so fine. I don't think I've ever seen a gimp quite like it. Beautiful, beautiful gimp. It's hard for me to focus it for you, but it's so fine and soft and pretty. So I've got quite a few meters of that one left as well. Now, what can I move on to next to show you? I've already shown you that lace. That's that white, that one. So I'll move that out of the way. I've got a couple of shopping bags down here. I'm going to start putting some of it in so I can keep track. This is, most of these are in my personal stash. So this is a new vintage lace, and it's black cotton with this metallic gold. Obviously the gold's not cotton, but I don't think I've seen anything like this one either. This is I quite like this one. It's hard for me to get a good shot of it for you. I was just looking for something to put behind it, but I don't have. Hang on a minute. This might help. bit of pink. There we go, that's a bit better, isn't it? This is in the reject pile, this pink, because it's got spots on it. So this black has been pulled off something, and I do have a belt listed on Instagram, a vintage 90s belt that has this sewn on it. So I don't know if this has come off another belt or if it's come off an outfit or something. But I thought that that black lace was something special. I hadn't seen any like that before. That's in my personal collection. And then this is something special. You can see there's a fringing. It has been pulled off something because it's got black thread on it still. But that gold is like a, how can I explain it? It's like a really fine tape that's been wrapped around a gimp or something, but it's metal. The tape, the gold bit is metal. So this is quite heavy for what it is. And yeah, I vaguely remember I'd seen something like this many years ago that my great aunt had in her Christmas decorations actually. And I'm pretty sure it was from like the 50s. But yeah, I found that quite stunning, this. So that's in my personal collection for something special one day. This is that other, the off-white one again, that pretty one. It's got like a trefoil or something on it. There's a bit of cotton stuck on that. Here's that, a bit more of that one with the rose on it. I've shown you that one. And here's that, I've shown you this one as well, the one that I thought was like a bridal lace. It's a beautiful quality, this. It's quite heavy, that one. But interestingly, one edge has sort of gone a little bit fluffy, probably from being handled over the years, I guess. Then I've got some of this, and I've got a little piece of this listed, I think, on Instagram. Don't know what I think about this. Obviously it's not cotton, it's not a natural material, it's shiny. But I was thinking, and I don't know if I like it, I don't know if it'll work. I was thinking I might try using a piece as a page in a needle book. I don't know yet. I try to use only linen and cotton, like natural products in my needle books, but I thought I might give that a try. Same with this bit. This is just a piece of vintage. And I remember, you know what? I had a dress made for me for my year 6 farewell. And that was in the mid-80s. And this lace is very similar. The one I had was yellow. This isn't yellow, this is an off-white. But this was very similar to the dress I had, the lace I had on my dress. So yes, I was thinking, I've just got that small piece. I think it's only about 20 centimeters, 30 centimeters. I was thinking I might try a page with that, but again, I've got this blockage because I don't normally use man-made materials in my work. Then I've got this white piece as well. So there's that. These are the, I just showed earlier, these are a couple of the sheeting bundles I've got left. I think I've got 4 left. I've sold a couple. They're all different. They're all listed on Instagram if you're interested. And those bundles are to help the aged care facility. This is a piece of broderie on glaze lace. It's still got the masking tape on it. I have soaked some of these because they were a little bit yellowed. So this particular piece is another piece for the aged care facility to help raise funds for them. I haven't measured it. There's maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 meters in that one. That's all there is. So I've got that available. I haven't listed it yet. I probably should keep that out so I remember to photograph it. I never know how to present these, whether I sell them by the metre or whether I just say, there's only 2.5 metres left of this, this is how much for the whole bundle, the whole bit that's left. Maybe I'm better off to do that because selling it by the metre hasn't been that popular. So I've got that piece. Where can I set that so I know I've got to photograph it? Then I've got, I'm not sure about this piece. There should be 2 pieces of this one. Which is the front. Looks like that's the front. This, I haven't pressed it yet, it's been soaked. I've got this white cotton broderie. Another piece for the aged care facility. There we go. It's hard to see, isn't it? So we've also got that one that I haven't listed yet. I'll try and... I've got all these bits mixed up. I've got some of my personal collection in here because I've been soaking them. Some of the bits from my private collection I've been collecting since I was a kid. So I've got a box, and I've noticed the other day, it's a plastic crate, clear crate, storage crate. I noticed the other day I need to either get another one or a bigger one because it's starting to fill up, especially after the laces I got at the op shop before Christmas. I got a few large pieces, especially the broderie onglaze bits I got with the ribbon threaded through it back then. I haven't even posted how much I bought yet. I've only listed about 13 metres and I've got about 40 metres of the stuff. So there's that one as well. These are my personal, out of my personal collection. This one's a bit, this has been rescued, recovered from something because I can see it was gathered at the top there. So where did I get that bit? I think I got that bit from an op shop down the road. This piece of ribbons from Nairi, it was wrapped around the parcel she sent me, this vintage, not vintage, this velvet ribbon. So I've hung on to that. I love velvet. My daughter can't stand it. It's like, to her, it's like scraping your fingers down a chalkboard. This is from my private collection. I've had this one for a few years now, this one. There we go. This has been cut off something. Don't know what. That's how it was when I got it. This is beautiful. I do have some of this available for sale. It's still on the card. What's available? It's cotton. It's absolutely stunning. It's a beautiful woven lace. Absolutely gorgeous. Now there is some of that, I'm pretty sure that's still listed on my Instagram. I love this. Absolutely stunning, this piece of lace. I don't think I've seen one like that before either. This is another bit from my personal collection. This was a real ecru colour and I soaked it. Didn't realise that it was actually white underneath when it was cleaned up. Quite a few of them have done that. I thought I had these beautiful antique ecru off-white laces, and then when I've soaked them, they've come up. This is another bit from my private collection I've had for quite a while. It's quite a heavy cotton lace, this one. And then this one, and I believe I've got some of this for sale, a woven cotton. Some of that one. This is another old one I've had for years, and again it was a real ecru colour until I soaked it, and it's come up quite white, which I find amusing. They're completely different colour to what I thought they were. And another This one's interesting. I'm pretty sure I've got some of this listed too. If I haven't, I should have. This is, it's all cotton, it's all woven, but it's very lightly woven. It's very soft. It's an off-white. Pretty lace, but it's sort of delicate because it's so lightly woven, if that makes sense. Right, oh, here's another funny bit of lace. I think I've only got this little bit left because I put some in the bundles. So I don't like these sort of things. I don't like the synthetic laces, but someone might adore it. So I've got this little bit available. I'll put that in the available pile. Now, oh, I probably should show you this. This is one of the quilting fabric bundles I've made up. This is all 1990s vintage. A lot of it is dated 1995. This is for the aged care facility. A percentage of this is going to go back to them. Now over here I've actually got some of the fabrics out so I can show you without undoing it. Each bundle's slightly different because I didn't have large amounts of every colour. So all the prints are 100% cotton, but the, oh sorry I missed that, it flashed up before I got to read it. The prints are all 100% cotton, but the plains are polycotton. So the polycotton I've charged about half the cost of the prints. I tried to make fat quarters, and because these fabrics all came on the long, remember the long rolls, the great big long 110, 120 centimetre wide long rolls, remember how they were? They all used to be in a big tub. You'd have to lift the rolls out and then take the big long roll over the counter, and they usually tore it because you could never reach all the way the entire length to cut it. So these were all off long rolls like that. Because I have such a limited space here to cut them, these pieces are all larger than fat quarters. So I try to do fat quarters. I've cut them neatly. They're neatly cut, but they're all odd sizes and they're all larger than fat quarters, okay? So I've been very generous. I've listed them as fat quarters. But this one here, 1, 2, 3, the fourth one up, this one is this print, which is, I think, is stunning. It's this beautiful pink paisley, very 1990s. And you know what? They're certainly no Liberty, that's for sure. But the quality of these cottons, you can feel the difference compared to some that you buy now. They just feel so much nicer quality. They're quilting cotton, but I don't know how to explain it. They're soft. They feel a bit more, not thick, that's not the right word. They just feel better, you know. So this is the paisley that I think is in every bundle. It's very pretty, I think. Then we've got, that one's not in it, that one is. So this pink one on the top is this pretty little floral, little ditzy. That's that one, and that's similar to one of the ones that was put in our dresses. I quite like that one. Again, that was dated 1990, early 1990s. Some of them actually had 1995 on them. Some had 1991. Where's some more? I might not have brought them all out. This one on the bottom here is this one. I think this is really pretty too. You know, I used to hate these little ditzy florals, but gee, they've grown on me. Look at that one. Is it going to focus? And the quality of this one, oh, it's just beautiful. I don't know how to explain. You can certainly This is Peter Pan Fabrics, this one. Don't know if you can read it there. Some of them have the same Peter Pan, some of them don't. Copyright Peter Pan. Doesn't have a year on it. It'd have to be early 90s, 1990 to 1995, but that's a very pretty, beautiful piece. So the fat quarters of that in each bundle. One or two of the bundles, the plains, had a mark on it, so I haven't even charged for it. It's just a bonus in there. This is in some of them. Is it in this one? No. Some of the bundles have this in them. It's not the same kind of fabric. It's cotton, but can you see it's got that raised texture. It's like the fabric that my grandmother used to use to make baby wear or nightgowns for herself. I can't remember for the life of me what it's called. Beautiful, beautiful fabric. The quality is just stunning and it's so soft. So that is in some of the bundles, some of that. This is another one. Doesn't look like it's in that bundle. Well, how come that one missed out? So this is in some of the bundles. Not this one I've got in front of me, but some of this one is in some of them. Another pretty little ditzy floral. Again, beautiful, beautiful quality fabric. It just feels divine. Cuts beautifully with the rotor cutter. There's no date on that one. We've got the little presses. I've ironed them, pressed them. They're just beautiful. This one's a bit unusual, but it still sort of works in a funny way. This one up here is this one. Again, lovely quality fabric. Look at that. Bit unusual, but it's just gorgeous. They all are. I'm just, I don't know. I don't know what to say. They're just lovely. Very nice. I think that's that same one I've shown over here. That's that one, isn't it? No, that's a different one again. I thought it was this one. This is in some of them. So this one here, underneath the one I just showed you, is this another pretty little ditzy floral. Look at that. Again, beautiful fabric. Absolutely beautiful. And I don't have any left of the other ones to show you, but we've got, maybe I should undo this so I can show you and then do it back up again. I just got sick of doing these up again. So this one has 11 fat quarters in it, and 3 of those are polycotton. I have reduced the price a bit since the original listing. So this particular bundle has this one that I've already shown you. It has a bit of, this is sort of an apricot coloured polycotton, which goes nicely with that. Then we've got a piece of fat quarter of this one, which again goes nicely with that polycotton. Not necessarily with that, but look at that. Then we've got this lovely little ditzy that I just showed you over here. Pretty little floral, and again they all sort of blend together in a way. Pale pink. This one actually feels like cotton. That's not a polycotton, that's cotton. Then we've got this lovely little floral that I showed you over here. This is a pretty one. Look at that. That's such a pretty pink. I don't know how to explain it. Don't think it quite shows you the true colour through the monitor, but that's very pretty, that one. Then we've got the paisley. Then we've got another polycotton. That's definitely polycotton. I can feel that. Then this is in some of them. It's brown, but it's got a little pink, and it's funny, it just goes in well. Look at it next to that paisley. It sort of goes. And then if you put the pink, look at that. It just works. And then we've got this little green ditzy at the end. And even though they're all different, these are the only ones, and that other piece, couple of pieces I showed you that aren't in this bundle. But I found it interesting that this is all they had, but they all sort of blend well. They all sort of work together in a funny way, if you can. There we go. So I've got these bundles. I've only done 6. There's 6 online on my Instagram. They're all a little bit different, as I mentioned before. I have recently reduced the price on them because they weren't moving, but I think the prices on them are very fair for what you're getting. And remember that the sale of these is going to help the aged care facility to get their new overlocker and a few other things they need. So they are beautiful vintage 90s fabrics. I don't think you'll be sorry if it's something that you're looking for, this style of fabric. They are a bit unusual colours, but I've got some fabrics in here that I bought from Beck at So Be. Gee, back in September now. I've just been stroking them. They're so pretty. Putting them in my nest, I suppose, my dragon's nest. And these go quite well with those as well. So there we go. Instagram, my Instagram account, which is Gladys and Maude Unearthed on Instagram. I've got some of those listed available. Okay. Make sure you have a good look. If you're interested, make sure you have a good look at each bundle because they're all different. Now they're all the fabrics I just showed you that are in the bundles. Now, on to the next lot. This piece I'm using as my background that's got marks on it. That's one of those polycottons, and this bit's been on the no use pile because there's a couple of spots on it. Okay, now from the aged care facility, there's also some light upholstery fabrics and some reclaimed vintage textiles as well. I've already sold some of them, but there's still some available. I believe there's still some of this one. This is a light upholstery fabric. No names on that, no marker's name. I did Google some of them, and it will say on Instagram if I found them what they are, if that's any help. So that's one of them. This is one of the sheets in the vintage sheet bundles I was talking about earlier. So there's a fat quarter of this one in those bundles. I think this is in every of the bundle, the sheet bundles. And they are selling the vintage sheet bundles. There's not many left. This is, I've got more of this. This is Sanderson and Sons light furnishing fabric, 1993 vintage. Very pretty florals. Look at that. Now this is selling as well. This is going out the door. There's not much of it left. So I've got some of that on my Instagram account. I actually cut a piece of that off the other day to make a needle book for the cover. What have we got? I believe I've listed some of this. This is another light furnishing fabric, very pretty, big floral. Actually, this is a reclaimed piece, this one. I'm sure I've listed some of this. I'm sure there was more of it. So that's not dead stock. That's a lot of what I've got's dead stock. Not all of it. That's a reclaimed piece. This is in my collection, my personal collection, this one, so far. I say so far because I'm not sure if I'm going to hang on to it. It's only a small piece. That's another piece of that last reclaimed bit I just showed you, not the last one, the one before. This is in my personal collection, and I did have one other piece, but it was snapped up in no time. This is a reclaimed piece of linen. Look at that, it's stunning. So yeah, the other piece that I listed was gone in no time. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's obviously come off a lounge chair or something. It looks like the shape of a chair, an armchair cushion. So that, the other available piece is already gone. I apologise. Now this is, I think I've only got this piece. This is in my collection. That one I showed you, the recovered piece. This is the same print, but it's on linen. So this is in my collection, this piece. That's all I've got. I'm a sucker for linen. I just love it. It's one of my favourite textiles. I think I even like it more than I like wool, to be honest. Now this piece, I've got two of these, so I'm listing one, and I think I'm going to list it as pieces to start with and see how we go. I'm not going to cut it unless people want it cut. This is a recovered piece of vintage linen. And it's just gorgeous. As I said, I've got another piece that I'm going to share, but there we go. There's the back of it. It was made into curtains, so it's just stunning. This linen, it's beautiful. It's very, I want to say earthy, I suppose, but I don't know. It's just gorgeous. It's not lightweight, but it's not heavy. It's sort of medium weight, I suppose. It's just a beautiful textile. It would be lovely to make, oh gosh, the possibilities are endless. It would make clothing, I suppose. It would be lovely to make bags. It would be great to use in collages and layer up and all sorts of things. These are some other textiles that I've inherited recently. This is that funny fabric again, like the baby wear pajama, and I can't remember the name of it. The one, there's none left, Christy, it's already sold. This one, is this the one you mean? That's my own private piece that I'm hoarding. The other piece sold as soon as it was listed. There's only two pieces, if that's the one you mean. This is that funny fabric again that I don't remember the name of it. This is another little floral that I've got for myself. Yeah, sorry, it's already gone. It's gorgeous, isn't it? I do have another piece you might be interested in though. It's not linen, but I'll get to it shortly. This is another little vintage floral that I've got. I think that's a poly cotton. It doesn't feel like cotton to me. And then these are funny little, I wasn't going to take these at first, but they encouraged me to take them because I didn't think I'd use them, but I probably will. Just these little squares. I wasn't fussed on that colour at first, or this. But the more I look at them, the more I think, you know what, I might actually use them. Funny little colour, that one. And this one, I didn't know what I thought of this one. To me, it looks like leaves or birds. And this one looks quite retro to me. And this is all there is. It's just these squares. And this bit, I like this bit. This is the one bit I did like, but look, it's misprinted. So it makes your eyes go funny. You look like you're seeing double. And then I've got this bit, and that's all it is. It's just this little strip, but I like the colour of it. And then I didn't like this at first, and they said, take that, you'll use it. And I'm like, no, I went, I actually will. Look at that. It's just a Spotlight fat quarter. But I quite like that one now. And then this little vintage piece, look at the age marks on it. I quite like that, and that's all there is of that one. And then I've got this little vintage piece too. Cute little floral. This one, I love this one. I don't know why, because green's not my colour, but I love this one. Just that little piece. There's another little piece of that one. These are bits of some of the vintage sheets that are in the vintage sheet bundles. So there's some of that in them, and there's some of this bit in them. This one here, I actually made a top for myself last week and a matching bandana for my dog out of that one. There's some of this one in there, beautiful vintage cotton. I looked these up, these are from the 70s, those ones. This one's from the 90s, there's a piece of this in there. I cut this up to do a needle book actually, that one. And there's another little bit of that. So that's those ones out of the way. Then, this is a piece I've cut out for a needle book too. This vintage, look at that. I have listed some of this on my Instagram account, but the true colour isn't showing in the photographs. I think it looks like what I'm looking at through the monitor now is closer to what it's truly like. But it's this vintage, it's reclaimed. It's a beautiful piece of fabric, and I've got a couple of pieces of that available on Instagram. Is that one. Now this piece, next piece, is a piece I bought from the markets, and the lady I bought this from, the next two pieces actually, the lady I bought it from used to work for Laura Ashley, and this is a piece of vintage Laura Ashley. So this is for my own personal collection. Gold fabric. She hasn't written. The next gold piece I bought from her, I didn't realise until I got home there's a great big stain on it, so I soaked it and it actually came up all right, thank goodness. But this is another Laura Ashley. Look at this one. Look at that. It's an upholstery fabric, but my goodness, that is stunning. So there's another piece to go into my personal collection. Now these next two pieces I covet like you would not believe. This is from, I found this 12-18 months ago. I thought it was a print when I first picked it up at the op shop. And then when I got it home and realised what it truly was, I was over the moon. Look at it, it's absolutely stunning. It's woven. So this is one of my very, very special pieces in my collection, this one. And then I recently came across a similar piece. This has been recovered, this piece, this blue piece, in blue. So this is another very coveted piece in my personal collection. However, I've got two very small 20 centimetre, I think 20 or 15 centimetre pieces of the blue that I've decided to share. They're listed on Instagram. They're absolutely stunning. Look at it. It's the same fabric. I've cut a bit off this. Vintage. My research, and I might be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'm happy to say I apologise, I'm wrong. But my research tells me that these pieces are about 1920s. So as I said, I have two pieces of this listed. It is currently uncut. I think they're only 15 centimetre pieces listed on my Instagram. If anyone wants a piece of that, I have sold some. There's 2 little pieces left. It's absolutely gorgeous. And this piece is one of the pieces that goes towards the aged care facility to help them if you were to buy some. Right, back to my personal stash. I found this the other day in an shop for needle books, and stupidly, I'm kicking myself. I soaked it in a couple of doilies and a couple of aprons, and the colour ran. And I got the colour run out straight away, and I still can't lift it, so I've got some spots. This piece has got a hole in it. It's all linen. It's vintage linen. I've been looking for some beautiful old vintage tea towels like this, so I was really happy with this. But I'm very annoyed with myself that I got that colour run. I'm very annoyed with myself. My bag just fell over. Give me a sec. I'll start another bag because that one's pretty full. Got my Woolies shopping bags here that I'm putting everything into. So there we go, the linen tea towel for my collection again. Now this piece, this is a piece that I bought just for the beads because I've got some vintage milk jug covers I found recently, and there's some beads missing, but the more I look at this, these are glass beads, but I'm pretty sure they're not vintage, so I don't think they're going to work for what I want. There is a space here where there's some missing. It's not torn away or anything. I wonder if they just forgot to put them on, or they've broken off. So I bought that to replace the ones that are missing on my other pieces, but I don't think it's going to work. I got this tablecloth. I haven't shown you. I went to the markets on Australia Day and I got some lovely pieces, and some of them are here. I mean, they're all here. Most of them. They're not all here. Some of these pieces I've picked up at op shops since as well. I haven't shown you guys any in the last couple of weeks, so I've got a bit of a collection happening. Excuse me, I was just having a drink. So this is one of the things I found at the market. I have soaked all these. A lot of them were quite grubby and stained. Some of them, when I got home, I realised they were quite damaged. But yeah, so this is one I got at the markets. It's got some lovely, more in the centre up here. Lovely cross stitch and applique. Try and fit that in my bag down here. This is one I got. Funny little filet doily. It's got this, I have soaked it. It's got this funny black mark in it that I can't get out, and I can't work out what it is. It may even be a burn. I can't tell. I don't have my glasses on. That's another one I got. There's still a couple of stains on that. That was, I think I got that one at the market. I might have got that at the op shop. This is another one. I should write down. One of the reasons I do these videos when I get them is if I forget where I've got them from, I can refer back to the videos and remind myself. I think this was an op shop one. That poor linen in the centre's a bit worn. Listen to those birds. This is an op shop one. I fell in love with this one. Normally, I wouldn't have gone for these, but I can just see how awesome this would be in a needle book. Look at that. I love that one. How cute is that? So that was a good find, that one. Have I got it around the right way? Yes, that's the front. Now this one, these ones, I was so excited. These are from an op shop. A few months ago, I don't know, I did share it on my videos. If you've seen it, you'd know. A few months ago, I found this funny square doily with these funny crocheted steps that came out, and it had pink flowers embroidered on it. It was just the one. Well, since then, I found these. They're exactly the same. They match it. Same op shop, but they were not out. They've come out afterwards. So these ones are tiny compared to the first one I found. And see what I mean? The funny bits, they step out in funny points like a cross. And then this tiny little one that matches as well. I was so excited when I found those. So they go with that one I got a few months ago. Then I got this little embroidered linen with the butterflies. This is a cute little one. Look at that. It's cotton, but it's very cute. Then we've got, oh, this one's cute. The crochet's damaged. I don't know whether I should replace it because it's very pretty. Look at that. Look at that embroidery. I think that was from the op shop. I don't remember which ones I got from the market. Most of them I can remember. Some of them I'm not sure. This is a little op shop one. Look at that. Pretty sure that's linen. It's a cute little size. I gravitate towards these small ones because they'll be good in needle books. Oh, I have shown you this. I might have shown you some of these because I know I've shown you this one. This, didn't know what it was at first. Look at all the wear holes in it, and it's got GH embroidered in it. And it wasn't until I found this piece that has GH embroidered in the corner that I realised this is a placemat or a dinner mat, and this is the napkin, matching napkin. And this person with the GH initials has used this and will use the placemat more than anything. It's so worn, and I just love it. I can't come at harvesting it yet because I just imagine this GH person using these at their dinner every night. So I apologise. It looks like some of these I have already shown you, but most of them I don't think I have. Got this one. It's quite pretty. It's got some holes in it though. It's linen and it is hand embroidered. It's a lovely little piece, that one. It's a shame it's got those holes in it. This one's pretty. Look at this. It's so fine. Don't know why I'm whispering when I say it's so fine. This is an op shop one, I think. This is quite unusual, and again I could see that in a needle book as a page. Look at that. That's very cool, that one. It's a bit tatty, but I might be able to repair those edges. I like that. It's a bit unusual. Bit 70s, I reckon, that one. I like that one. Now this is a piece of lace I've had for years. This was one of my grandmother's pieces because she used to do bridal gowns. And it was covered in stains, so I soaked it recently. Look how worn it is. So I just thought I'd share that piece with you. That's from my personal collection I've had for years. I may have shown you this as well. This was from, pretty sure this was from an op shop recently, that one. Now this is old stuff I've had. I'm sure I've shown you that. This is another piece from, I think, no, this was from a lace stash I got a few years ago. I bought a big box full of random laces. I've been using this, but I still think this as it is now, that'd be good in a needle book as a page. It's got some marks on it still. A little bit out of my stash. This was a great big, I think I've shown you some of these pieces before, great big tablecloth that had all disintegrated, and I cut up pieces and dyed them all different colours, so I still use them in different projects. This is another piece. I'm pretty sure this was a piece from my grandmother's that I've soaked recently. Look at that. Beautiful. So I can just see that in needle books as well for pages. Look at that. Very pretty. It's a bit of an odd shape, but that's okay. We can work with that. Then I got this piece recently, and I can't remember if this was an op shop or a market one. This is why I should do the videos more regularly. Beautiful linen, very fine. It's a bit worn. That's the front. The front's a bit rough. That's why I had it round the wrong way. It's a couple of holes in it. But a lovely piece again. I've left some pieces inside, silly goose. I think I've got, must be 3 of these. There's that little one I showed you earlier. There's that one. And then there's this. Oh no, this is different. I think I've shown you this. Didn't realise until I'd opened this one. I apologise. I thought I'd only picked up the recent stuff, but I've got some of the other stuff in that bundle as well. This is the piece. It's all worn, but when I open it up, there's water lilies and swans. It's stunning. It's damask. Very pretty piece. It's a shame it's got holes in it. It's just been loved and worn through, I think. Now this is a new piece. I know I bought this at the market, and I paid a heck of a lot more for this than what I'd normally pay. Look at that. This is for my own personal collection. I'll stick that pink under so you can hopefully see a bit better. There we go. How's that? Isn't it gorgeous? Is that? I don't even think that's focusing, is it? So yeah, I paid a ridiculous amount of money for this because I went back 3 times. I ummed and ahed. No, I'm not going to pay that much. I'm not going to get that. It's made in England. Where did I put that bag? It was in the plastic bag. So I ended up, like I said, I went back 3 times. Every time I picked it up, it's beautiful. No, I'm not going to pay that much. That's too much. I'm not going to pay that much. That's out of my budget. No, that's ridiculous. And then as I was leaving, I thought, bugger it. I know if I don't buy it, I'll regret it. So I went back and got it. This is another one I got. I think this was from the market that same day. This one. Little tray cloth. This is hand embroidered, but it's sort of, and all that's all done by hand, all that's pulled work. This is another one from the market that day. Now, these aren't all from the same store, they're all different ones. Some of them were I've got a few from one store, but yeah, you've got to walk around and look. Some of these things I found were screwed up in a ball in the bottom of a milk crate with a heap of old 1990s vintage toys on top. So you've got to have a good look, you know, and these ones were really grubby and I just brought them home and soaked them. This is another one I got from the market that day. Not the best stitching, but still quite pretty. It's a bit, the edging's a bit tattered, the crochet's falling apart. But there's still a lot of embroidery there on linen. Still a lot of usable stuff there. This is one of the first applique ones I've ever been able to get my hands on. I've seen them, but they're either way beyond my budget or they get snapped up before I get to grab them. So this is one of my first ever pieces that's larger than a little, or I've got some bits that are cut up, that were given to me cut up, but this is the first one I've ever got hold of that's a whole doily. Then we've got this one. I believe this is machine embroidered. Let's have a look. No, it's not. I apologise. It's hand embroidered. Look at that. It's beautiful. It's still got some staining on it, this one. I might have to give that another soak. Now these are from... Where did I get these? I can't remember. I only got them recently. They must be from the market too. This one, the blue bird. I only bought this one for the bird. It's got that funny daisy down there, and it's got a tattered border, and then it, oh no, it's all tattered. I thought that outside border was crocheted, but it's all tattered. It's just two different colours. How about that? I love this one. It's linen, very fine linen. Look at that. All hand embroidered. So pretty. Look at the back. It's not the neatest, but it's still pretty neat. So that's a pretty one. She threw this one in for free. I wouldn't have paid for it because it's all synthetic, but look at that. That's a bit cute. Maybe I should list that on Instagram. Someone else might like it. And I got this white work one, which has got another stain that I missed. I have soaked all these, but they might have to have another go. Look at that up there. That's a bit cute. I love this one. I'm always looking out, and I think it's only the first piece I've actually found. The willow design. So when I was growing up, I say my grandparents, it was actually my great uncle, but he was pretty much my grandfather. He had a lot of this in his house, white work. He had pictures and tea towels, and so every time I see this, it just reminds me of growing up and all the good stuff we did as an extended family. And then I got this tablecloth. Must be a round one because it's folded funny. That's a new one from the market. This one I got from the market that day, but this poor one, it was very stained. It's got paint on it, and it's sort of falling apart, and it's where the cutout bits are, they've sort of torn and fallen apart, and someone's tried to repair them. Can you see that repair job? Some of it's very rough, some of it's very fine. There's all sorts of, the more I looked at it, I didn't notice it when I bought it. I thought it was all in one piece, but the more I look at it, look, there's a bit missing out of the edge here. I love it. Look at this repair job here. See, if I was to repair it, I'd actually do the needle woven bars like the rest of it instead of just a thread. But look, it's so cute how it's been repaired. So I got that one, that little tablecloth, like a supper cloth, I suppose, that one. This one I love. This is from the market. I see pictures of these. I think I'd love something like that one day. And again, I have soaked this, but I've noticed, I don't know if you guys notice, I soak them, they come out, I give them a wash, dry them off, and they look spotless. I can't see any marks on them. And then a week or two later, some of the stains start to reappear again. I'm not sure what that's about. So I got this one, like a, I don't know, what would you call it, a tray cloth or a supper cloth. It's all hand embroidered. So I fell in love with that one. I thought that was very cute. Now this next one I think is one I've had for years, and I got it out to soak it again because it was a bit stained. I think I was thinking of harvesting it. It's got little, look how fine this embroidery is though. So this pink has been, I think it's been stitched in. It may have been already in the textile, but it's square all the way around this table, this supper cloth. And there's these tiny, tiny little French knots stitched along at intervals. And these tiny little flowers are hand stitched. And then look at the tiny little grub bullion knots here. Applique. So yeah, that's one that's been in my collection for many years now, but I was thinking of harvesting that one. Now this is from the market. This is a pillowcase, and I only bought this for the edging, the lace edging. It's a bit worn up here. You can see, oops, sorry, it's out of shot. It's a bit worn up here, but look at that pretty lace edging, and then this is all beautiful, beautiful quality cotton. this pillowcase. It's worth it even just for that cotton, to reuse it for something. These vintage textiles, the vintage cottons and linens, if you want to dye them, even eco dye, they take the colour so well, the vintage textiles. And again, I bought these 2 pillowcases just for the embroidery. This feels like polycotton to me, and this is machine embroidered, but it's still quite pretty. So I've got 2 of those. I got this tablecloth at the markets. Look at this embroidery. It's on linen, very fine linen. Look at that. Now this particular one, it's got a lovely crocheted edge. This is stunning, this one. The more I look at it, the more I fall in love with it. Little supper cloth. And then in between each corners there's these embroidered flowers as well. Now this one was sitting on a table on its own, and the lady had other items, and I zeroed in on this and I said to her, how much is that? She said, that's $10, thank you. And I thought, oh, I don't normally pay that much for those sort of things. It is lovely. And I ummed and ahed. I didn't say anything to her, I ummed and ahed. And she opened it up to show me and she said, oh, look at that, there's holes in it. She said, I didn't know there were holes in it. That's the only holes I can find, these little ones here. $2 will do. And I couldn't grab it fast enough. I said to her, you sure? You sure that's enough? She said, yep, $2, that's fine. So I grabbed that. This is from the market. Little on this one. No, sorry, those 2 aren't. This one I've had for years. I dug it out to soak it. So this little milk jug cover, I still haven't got that blasted stain out. They've got their glass beads on that one. And I dug that out because I got these ones from the market. I don't know if you can see. It says milk. Can you see that? So that's filet lace crochet, and it's sort of a star. And this is one of the ones with the glass beads missing. So there's that one and that one. There's a couple missing off this one. So this has only got the green ones, the brown ones are missing. There's a brown one. It's actually purple. So I believe there should be, these 2 have got 2 green ones and 2 brown ones. So I assume they should each have the same. That one's got nothing, they've fallen off. That's just got 2 green, and see, look, you can see that's been cut or broken. There's a brown or mauve one missing from that one. There's a green one missing for that one from that one. You can see, there we go, just a thread hanging. There's 2 missing from that one. There's 4 missing from that one. So I've been trying to find the same vintage matching glass beads. I'm not having any luck yet. I used to have a jar with vintage glass beads. I haven't seen it for years. I had it when I was a kid. So whether I've still got it. This is from the market, just, it's a hanky. Similar flowers to that supper cloth. There, look. So that's beautifully embroidered. Lovely crocheted edge, and look at the back, the work on the back. So that's lovely. I peached this hanky up because my daughter's name starts with A. Look at this. An embroidered A. I probably shouldn't show this if she watches it. I was going to send it to her as a surprise. So I've got that one. Got this pretty little embroidered hanky. That's all embroidered, machine embroidered, but still pretty. Another machine embroidered hanky. It's a pretty one. Now this milk jug cover I've had. No, this is one I got at the market recently. Look at this, I love it. Sydney Harbour Bridge. Anything Australiana, I love it. Look at that. Net lace, I love it. Absolutely love that one. And then I got this one. Another net with the blue glass beads. Now, is this new or is this old? I think this is new stuff. That's just a linen napkin. These two little napkins. These are from the market. These were absolutely filthy. There's 4 of them. I think she gave them to me for nothing because they were absolutely filthy. I don't even know how to explain how dirty they were. And instantly I thought, oh, if I can soak them and they come up all right. And they don't look too bad to me. They're all hand embroidered cut work. Look at that. They're very stiff though, and I have soaked them and washed them. I thought it was just starch or sizing. Can you hear it? They're still really stiff. So that's a bit unusual. But I thought they were all the same. And it wasn't until I was ironing them that, look, they're different. The design's different. I think they're meant to match together. So there's 2 of that design and 2 of the other design. Yeah, look, you can see that some of the stains are starting to show again on that one. Here's another one I bought at the market, a pillowcase, but look at that. Isn't it stunning? This one, little napkin. I think that was a freebie that was thrown in. I only bought this for the edging. I think I've shown you this. These are the ones I got at the op shop before Christmas, because then it goes into those fingertip towels. I think I've shown you those. I do have, there's some more vintage pillowcases inside that are, I believe, about circa 1920, because they are linen. They do have ties on them, and they have these massive crocheted borders around them, which is deteriorating. They're stunning. They've been into soak. They're now drying. I think I've got another tablecloth that I bought at the market that's in soaking. What else did I get? There's something else. I can't remember now, but there was a bit. So I've had a lovely vintage haul over the break. What am I up to? I did start a joy pouch with Kate and the Nest. And I thought in my head, if I do a small one, it will be achievable and manageable, and I won't get overwhelmed, and I'll be able to get it done within the period of January. Well, I haven't. I'm still going, and what I found, this may sound silly, but what I found is with the small area, I'm finding it harder to, because there's such a small space, I don't know where to put things, and I don't know, it's just, I'm finding it difficult. So the plan was to do this little, it was only supposed to be like this cute little pouch. And I've come to a bit of a standstill. I'm a bit stuck on what to do next and where to go. So that's where I'm up to with that. I started with my wool base, my wool blanket, like Kate does. This piece here with the orangey yellow bit and the pink flowers, that's a piece of vintage cotton that was salvaged from a fold-up mattress. I would have shown you that before, that fabric. This was a scrappy offcut. When they remove the covers from these mattresses, it looks like they've just torn them. So I ended up with some funny shaped strips, and this is one of those scrappy strip bits. And this piece, this flower, and this flower, these leaves, this bud and this flower here, that was from a napkin, a vintage napkin. And I don't know if you can see, I've done blanket stitch around all these flowers and the stems to hold them in place. And I've done that over the top of this to hold all that down too. And where that raw edge was with that cotton, I've just done like an overstitch, like a, what's it called? satin stitch, I suppose, but like sideways around that edge to hold that in place. Then I crocheted this tassel fringing, and that is pure wool with some Angelina glitz in it that I spun myself by hand, and then I've crocheted that fringing. So I've tacked that on, haven't sewn it in yet, I've just tacked that on. It's sort of a little short on one end, and then I've just tacked on this bit of pink gingham, and I don't know where to go now. I'm really stuck on this bit, so I keep picking that up and putting it back down. And then I've got a few more things in here. So while we're on the subject, I started doing some crocheted tassels. I don't know whether to list some of these. Some people were interested in buying some. I don't know how big to make them. I don't know whether to make them big enough to go across, you know, larger pouches, the whole length. I have seen some people have just done little bits that they've attached to their pouches. So I have done some. If anyone's interested, I might list some. I don't know how to do it. This is mohair, this piece. I didn't spin this, but this is mohair that I've crocheted. This is yarn undyed merino that was dyed by Lainey of Forest Hill Yarns, and I don't think Lainey is operating anymore, not under Forest Hill hand dyed yarns anyway. This is one of her colourways, and I have crocheted that fringing with that. This is one that I spun myself. I think that was one of my colourways too that I dyed. I think my son did that one actually. That is merino that I've spun myself from comb top that my son dyed or painted, and then I've crocheted that trim with that. This is another hand spun that I've done. I can't remember the fibre. It's wool. It feels a bit different to these. It's a bit heavier. That's not my colourway. Someone else has dyed that, but I've spun it and I've crocheted that fringing. This is one I've done. This is recycled sari silk that I've shredded, combed, and then blended with Australian merino, and I've spun it and then I've crocheted it. You can see I've used some raw, like beige coloured wool in here, and then it goes into white wool. So that's a silk merino blend, that one that I've crocheted up. This is alpaca that raw alpaca, combed it, carded it, spun it, washed it, whatever, prepped it, and then I've crocheted this fringing from that. It's actually crea, it's baby alpaca, so it's nice and soft. So there's a grey one. I don't know what colours to use. This is cotton. This is just crochet cotton. So I tried that out, done a little bit of tassel with that. I quite like that. It's nice and soft, gives a nice effect. I probably should do a longer piece. This is 100% silk. It is, crikey, I can't remember the type of silk. This is silk I bought by the kilo many years ago. I hand dyed it, spun it myself. It's not as fine as I get now because it was one of my earlier spins. And then I've crocheted this. This is quite heavy, this silk, compared to the wool. And then I've got another piece of that mohair. I haven't spun this. This is commercially spun, but it is mohair. That's all I've done so far in the fringing. But as I've said before, if anyone would like any of that, let me know. These pieces will be quite expensive because they're hand spun, they're hand dyed, most of them. They're exotic textiles, you know. But I do have a little bit of acrylic left. I've given away most of my acrylic yarns because I don't use acrylic anymore. It seems silly when I've got all these beautiful luxury fibres that I can spin up. But if you want something a bit cheaper, I do have some acrylic, I believe, left that I can do. Now, needle books. I think I'm finished this one, but I'm not happy with it. I don't know if it's just because I don't like the colours. They're not my colours. I just had a bit of cotton wrapped around it I was trying to pull off. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm finished or not. It just doesn't sit well with me yet. This is 1970s brushed cotton, original fabric. I've put binding around it. I've stitched it all, as you can see. I have added this vintage lace for the tie, cotton lace. And I've just put little tabs on the end so it doesn't fray. I've sewn on a piece of vintage lace. I believe this is reclaimed. This was given to me. I had a few pieces of this given to me. We open up and this embroidered cotton that I've turned into a pocket looked a bit plain to me, especially with all this colour on this side, so I decided to add a bit of, try and echo some of the colour over here. This is a piece of quilting cotton from the 90s. It was from when I was working in a quilt store. I've only got a tiny bit of it left, more than this, but not much, probably only about so much. But it just seemed to work well, the colour worked well. And I've stitched that down. This is vintage 60s, I believe, this piece of fabric. And you can see I've done the canter stitch on that. Then you probably notice this bit of yellow here. If we pull this, oops, it's got caught. Where's that got caught? There's a needle threader attached. So that just slides into that pocket there. And I've used vintage crochet cotton, variegated cotton, which I thought matched well. That tablecloth I spoke of earlier, I had that hand-dyed piece in purples and blues. This is another piece of that. Obviously this piece is done in oranges and yellows and reds. Then we've got this page, which is linen. This is reclaimed linen. This piece was given to me. It was already cut up. A friend saved this for me. I've stitched on a piece of wool, felt, with some needles in it. Little decorative needle here. It's not little, it's a big one. Look at that. Big needle. Pin. Sorry, that's pin, not a needle. These are needles. Then I've done this little fussy cut hexagon strawberry, and I stitched around it in the green. I don't know if I should have done that stitch. I don't know if I like it now, but there we go. We've got that nice crocheted edge on the bottom of that linen, and then I've come across and done a fancy little knotted running stitch along the bottom in the green just to tie it all in a bit more. You can see we've got a fluffy edge here. That's some doctor's flannel that's on the other side. We turn it over. We've got doctor's flannel, so this is all wool. You can stick pins and needles in all of that. This is part of a vintage napkin, all cross-stitched. Tiny little, cute little eyelet lace, cotton eyelet lace up here, and then I've got a vintage mother of pearl button, and I've done a needle woven bar as a loop. If I can get it undone. There we go, there's our needle woven bar that keeps twisting a bit. You can see that. And then we've got a pair of scissors in there. these aren't vintage, they're new, replica. So they live in there. We do the button up so we don't lose them. Then we've got the next page, which is a vintage cotton handkerchief. I've done a crocheted edge with vintage crochet cotton. So I crocheted that edge on. Then I've done these little fussy cut hexagons. These are all petite pan, this is petite pan fabrics I got from Beck at So Be, and the centre is a piece of vintage cotton from the 70s. We turn her over and there's that vintage hanky, and I've turned that into a pocket. There we go, there's a pocket there. Then we've got a piece of wool felt, and it just looked bare to me, so I've just added that vintage broderie lace with a bit of vintage cotton. That's off another one of those mattresses, that top bit. I just wanted to try and put some matching or complementary colour up there, pop a colour. And then we open it up to this doily. That's all felt, so you can stick all your pins and needles and safety pins and whatnot in there. We turn the page to the felt. We've got some pins in there, and then this beautiful remnant, salvaged piece of linen, and I've applied that so it's another little pocket. That was tricky, that one, attaching that. Then we've got that hanky again, the other side of that hanky. We turn her over, and I've got a piece of, just dropped out for a second there, guys. This is a remnant. I used half of this, I put in a kit that I think has been purchased for a needlebook kit. The other half was full of holes, and I managed to salvage this little piece that had no holes in it. I didn't know what to do with it because it's a funny shape, so I've stitched it in here in this book because I had these, I put these in. The hanky was a little bit too big, so I ended up with this extra flap that I had originally thought I'd stitch something on for another page. But I ended up stitching these vintage yo-yos. These are from Beck at So Be again. I bought them from her. So I stitched those on, thought I'd make a feature out of that. And then because I've got the pink here, I wanted to echo the pink, and I did that in here. So we turn over, and this is a piece of salvaged linen from a big doily, and that, just that strip there and this piece are stitched onto the back of the yo-yo. And we've got another piece of doctor's flannel here. This is a folded hexagon out of a piece of that mattress cotton again, and I've stitched a little bit of lace in the center to cover the center. Put some safety pins in there. Then I found this vintage from the 90s, this, what do you call it, pom-pom. So I thought I'd add that for another bit of colour peeking out. We turn the page, we've got that other piece of that embroidered linen, and you can see there's still the crocheted edge down here. And then this last page is the other part of that, this piece here. That's the other side of it there. Part of that tablecloth again. Now I stitched this tab on there to protect that, so this crocheted bit, it was just raw and I didn't want it to come unraveled, so I've stitched that bit of cotton on there. And then that's just the back of the label I've stitched in. I should try and make a feature, I can't work out how to do that. Then I found this piece of lace that I've added, and it's sort of, I've folded it over so it's double. And it sort of had this hole peeking out, so I've done this needle woven bar hanging out and attached this like a zipper pull or something. It's sunflowers. That colour seemed to just work well. We turn that page over, and look, it almost repeats the daisies. Look at that, I'd only just noticed that. The embroidered daisies, look at that. They're almost the same. So we turn that page over, and then I've stitched my name in there. Not my name, my page name. And I've typed that on a piece of vintage Actal cotton sheeting that had all this foxing on it. I love it. I love the stains and the texture of that. So I wanted to have a piece of that in there. And then we have the back page, the doctor's flannel backing, so you can stick more pins and needles and safety pins in there. Another pocket. And then that's the back. And we come back to that wrap. So I think this one's finished, but yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. I think it's just because they're not my favourite colours. So I will be listing this one in my Made It store. It will be available to purchase. And I have started another one. This is the bark cloth I've been working on. So this is the front. Look at all this cotton stuck on it. This is the bark cloth one I've been working on. This isn't finished yet. I want to add more pages yet. We open it up. I've got this lovely heavy lace. This is linen on the inside. And then I've turned this into pockets. I've fussy cut some of those strawberries again and added a tab on there. Originally I didn't stitch this down, so you could lift this up and the strawberries were repeated on the back, but it was stretching and it was just getting too big, so I decided to stitch that down and turn it into 2 pockets. This is another piece of that. Is it the same? No, it's not. It's another tablecloth that someone had already cut up. So I've salvaged some of that, and I thought it was too plain, so I've stitched these on. Just stitch these flowers on there. Try, because you can see the pink and the green through the wool, and I'm not sure, I've spoken about this before, but I'm still not sure about this bright pink wool that I've dyed and stitched around this blanket. I'm just not sure about it yet. Not convinced it's right. So you can see this hasn't been stitched in yet because I'm not convinced this is right either. This is a piece of, I'm trying to get it in the shot, a piece of wool felt that was left over from the last one, and I've tacked that onto this sandwich tray cloth because, again, like the hanky, it was a bit too long, there was too much hanging out, so I've done this little tab, stitched that on to make another page. Still not convinced if it's going to stay like that. We open that up to the center of the little tray cloth. I think I'm going to put more in the center, more pages in the center of that yet. We turn this page over and we've got another tab, and to that I've stitched these folded hexagons, but they stick out further than I wanted them to. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. I have been just folding that in so they're not hanging out so far. But yeah, still not sure what I think about that. I don't know if it will remain in this book. Seems like a great idea at the time, but yeah, not sure. I mean, I can fold that in. Then we've got our next wool page, obviously the back of that tablecloth, and then this is the back page so far. So I've got layers, I've got that vintage mattress fabric. This was a remnant, that's all I had. Someone had already cut it out, it was just that bit, so I've used that to turn into a pocket. And then that's the back. That's all I've done so far for that. I'm a bit stuck on that one, not sure where to go, not sure what else to put in it. Then I've got this real 1970s one that I've stitched. This is just the cover so far. Open her up and we've got this bit of napkin. I thought it would be a bit cute to have this edging hanging out. So that's all I've done so far. The pocket, See, I haven't even tacked that down. So there'll be a pocket on the front, a pocket on the back. Close it up. That's the back. That's as far as I've got with that needle book. Then I've got... Oh, there's my glasses. I haven't brought them all out. I've got others that I'm further along with. This is a piece of that 1970s beautiful sheet that I made my blouse out of. I've started stitching this one. This is a big one. But I think I'm going to come and stitch in between each row. I want it to be closer together. They're too far spaced out for me. So that's another one I've started. Look at the size comparison. About twice the size it is, look. So there's that one. This is another vintage piece. This is, the lady told me, I think she said it was from the 50s or 60s, this, and I think it's violin. They think it's wool. It feels like wool. And all I got was a sleeve cut out. So there's the front and the back of the sleeve. So that's all I've got. So I want to do this as a needle book too, a needle book cover. Beautiful fabric, not as big as this one, but bigger than these little ones. So that's another one I want to start. Then I've got a piece of vintage Sanderson linen that I'm going to start. I've got a couple of bits of Sanderson I've started actually. This piece with the cabbage roses, that's the back. Haven't started stitching yet. I need to get to work, don't I? And then this one, I had an epiphany the other day. This is just a piece of that, one of those little floral prints that I got recently. Oops, I just dropped my ruler. I started drawing up the lines to do my stitch, and then I thought maybe I can stitch a heart. So just for something different, I've stitched a heart in the front of this, and then I'm doing the running stitch around it. And again, look at that, I didn't even notice that. What a goose. Big loop in my stitching. So this is, I'm using, as usual, I like to use vintage crochet cotton. So this particular one that I'm doing is, oh goodness, it's all come undone. Bear with me for a second while I wind it back on. Oh goodness me, there's a lot that's come off. I've got it in my little project bag and it's all just slipped off the reel. I'm winding, guys, I won't be a minute. Okay, so this is what I'm using for this one. Coats. Can you see that? Is it going to focus? Coats Mercer Crochet, size 20. Cotton made in Great Britain. So that's what I'm using on this one. It's variegated cotton. Not quite the right colour. It's could be a bit cooler, but it works. I use ecru a lot. I haven't got any out here. This is the one I've been using in this needle book. I've used some of this one. This is a lot softer. It's all vintage. What's this one say? This is Chinese. I didn't realise that. Or yeah, China, Shanghai, China. Rose brand 8. Logram, 95 yards. Cotton, pearl cotton. The label's all the way down in there. It's nice and soft, this one. I've been using that in that book. Actually, it's not that one, it's a different, it's more of a leaf green that I've used. I do have a couple of different greens. Haven't brought them all out, but I collect, when I see these at the op shop, I usually pick them up if they're affordable. I saw some the other day. They were asking $6 and $7 a ball for vintage. I won't pay that much. I think the most I will pay is $2 a ball, and even then I balk at that. One of my local stores sells bags full, so you usually get 6 balls maybe for $4 or $5. Another one of the second-hand shops sells them for about $1 a ball. But yeah, usually if they're $4 or more, I won't buy them. But I do have a box full. I do collect them, and I have been putting them in the needlebook kits. But I'm starting to wonder if I need to just do cards, not put the whole ball in, because I'm running out really quickly, even though I've got quite a few. I've just remembered I do have, I'm not going to go and get it now, my market, when I market shop on Australia Day, I bought another supper cloth, which I didn't realise was a supper cloth. I just thought it was a large doily. And it wasn't. I have to show you guys. I'll have to show you later. I'm not going to fiddle around now and go inside and make noise and trip over and whatnot. But when I got it home, I realised that the crochet, it's so, how can I explain it? Imagine it's a square, piece of square linen, white linen, and the crochet has these great big triangle bits off each side, which makes another big square at, tilt at 45 degrees, and there's another big square of the crocheting, if that makes sense. The crocheting, after I'd soaked it and starched it and I was pressing it, I realised that the medallions are spider's webs. It's absolutely insane how this person has crocheted it. It's some of the finest crochet I've ever seen, and it's just this series of crocheted spider's webs. I had to actually use a magnifying glass to see how she's done it. It's absolutely stunning. It's absolutely insane, and I need to remember the next video to show you guys, because it's something really special. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. So that's where I'm up to, but I need to wind up, I think, because apart from the fact that I've gone for over 2 hours and you guys must be bored senseless by now, I need to go and make some dinner, because I've been promising for the last 3 nights that I was going to post some more items on my Instagram, do another drop. I don't have a lot yet because I'm still cleaning stuff and sorting through. I do have a few items. Friday night I was going to post some, and things went sideways. My neighbour down the back, who I had never spoken to before, who turns out to be a really lovely man, was having some trees cut down. And initially I was a little bit anxious that he was cutting down some healthy trees, but when I went out and had a look, he's only having dead trees cut down, so that's fine. But then I actually went down to ask the arborist if he knew why there was a cluster of dead trees in that area, and he told me that they had borers in them previously, and the borers had killed the trees. Okay, I found that quite interesting. So then, I don't know, I hadn't even thought about it. It wasn't preconceived or anything. I hadn't thought about this. Asked him about that. He told me about the borers, and then instantly my mouth was opening and the words were coming out before I even realised what I was saying. And I said to him, what do you do with the wood after you cut it down? And he said, oh, we go and cash it in. We take it to a place and they pay us cash for it. And I mean, that could be legitimate, but around here at the moment there's that much wood and wood chips. I have been told that they're not paying them. They actually have to pay to dispose of it. I don't know. I'm not saying he's lying. They may be paying again. It does happen. And he said, why? Why are you asking me that? And I said, well, I was wondering if I could get some for my parents for firewood. And he said, oh, I suppose so, but you'll have to pay for it. And I said, oh, well, don't worry then, that's okay, because I'm not in a position to pay for firewood. That's why I was asking him. So in the last couple of years, I've bought a license, a national parks license, and I go into the national park and they've already felled trees, and I go in and bring some home in the ute. You have to have a license, you have to keep a journal, you have to be able to prove where you've got it from, what you've done, you know, all sorts of things. You have to prove that you've got a medical officer on hand. I was acting medical officer because I've done first aid and whatnot. Yeah, it's a bit full on, but I've been buying licenses to go in and do that. It's very time consuming, it's exhausting. I have to borrow a ute, I have to borrow a chainsaw, I have to borrow protective gear. I don't have chaps of my own at the moment. So yeah, it's hard because I need to rely on so many people to help me if I go in there. The last 2 times we've gone in, they give you a map. It's all online. You get a map and it tells you where you can go. So it's very specific. If you wander outside those zones, you get in trouble, you get fined, there's all sorts of things. So you can only collect wood from where they tell you can collect it, which is fine. But the last 2 times I've collected wood, I haven't realised until I've gotten it home. I mean, I should have learnt the second time. It was bloody turpentine, and even though turpentine's a hardwood, it doesn't burn. No matter how much you season it, it does not burn. So that was all wasted effort and whatnot. So when I saw these trees were being felled, they were all hardwood. They were all good gum trees. Went and asked if I could have some. The arborist said he wanted money, which is fair. And then he said, well, if you can't pay for the load, at least throw each of my employees some cash. I said, look, I'd love to, but I don't have it. I just don't have it. I said, I can trade you something. And I was trying to negotiate to trade something. And he said, no, you don't have anything that we want. I'm like, okay, that's fine. No, not a problem. Well, with that, the owner of the property came up. And he said, what do you want? And I told him, and he turned around to the arborist. He said, you give it to her. If she wants it, you give it to her. I've paid for it. I'm paying you to do this. You do it. So the arborist then said, I'm not going to load up my truck and drive around to your house to drop it off. I said, well, can you ask you guys to throw it over the fence for me? And he rolled his eyes. He said, yeah, I suppose. So that's what they did. They cut it up, and they spent a couple of hours throwing the timber over the fence for me. But now I have to bring that timber up. It's down the back. I've got to bring it up a incline, and then up a steep embankment, and then up a small incline, and then split it. I started splitting it and putting it on a pallet. Then I've got to get the ute over here, load the ute up, and transport it to Mum and Dad's. So I loaded up my wheelbarrow yesterday, and the tyre died. So I was essentially skull dragging my wheelbarrow backwards up this embankment. It completely wiped me out. I couldn't keep doing it. So I asked my neighbour if I could borrow his wheelbarrow. So he's given me a lend of his, which is great. I borrowed a hydraulic log splitter from my dad. I can't get the freaking thing to work properly. So I ended up getting out my grandfather's axe that I don't think has ever been sharpened. If it has, it was long before Pop passed away. It's rusty. It's all I had. And the fellow down the back got his grinder out and sharpened it for me. The fellow down the back doesn't speak much English, so it's been interesting. And turns out he's such a lovely, kind man. He told me he's been keeping an eye out for me. He's been worried about me. And he said to me, if you need anything, you yell at me. And I think he means you call out to me over the fence. But it was just so sweet. And when we were felling the trees and moving the timber, he sidled over to the fence, and I can only just see him above the fence. And I'm higher than him, so I'm sort of just looking down. And he said to me, he sort of looked sideways. He said, "Shh, I got a surprise present for you." And I'm like, oh my goodness, what on earth is this? This is only like the third time I've interacted with him in total. And he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out this little miniature beer that he'd chilled. And he gave me this beer. It was delicious. It was just what I needed, but it was the cutest thing. He was so sweet. So yes, I only spent an hour today chopping wood because in all these years, I have tried to chop wood on different occasions many times, and I've been unsuccessful. And I've always been taught, because I'm right-handed, I think I mentioned this earlier in the video, I've always been taught to bring the axe over my right shoulder and, use both hands and bring it down. Today, for some reason, I decided I'd try something different. And I held the butt of the axe with both hands, and I raised it above my head equally, and then I put a little bit of force behind it, not a lot, basically just let it fall. And would you believe, it was easy. I didn't have to exert myself, and the wood was splitting. It was splitting better than if I used the hydraulic splitter. So I spent time. The only issue I had was, because it's hardwood, the axe was getting stuck sometimes. If I didn't make a clean cut all the way through, the axe was getting stuck. Do you think I could get it out of that wood? That's where all my energy went, trying to remove that axe once it got in there if I didn't make a clean cut. The only reason I stopped was because I started to get really lightheaded. I took my blood pressure and it was only about, I think it was 74/75. So I stopped. I think I lasted for about an hour. My dad came over to see the wood I'd got. He hadn't seen it. And he said to me, "For goodness sake, don't you chop that wood. You'll have a heart attack." I said, "I'm fine. I feel great." He said, "But you've been so sick." I said, "I know, but I feel really good. It's good for me. It's helping rebuild my muscles and my stamina." I said, "I'm not going to push myself, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm going to keep going." "Don't you do it, I'll do it. You cart it to my place and I'll chop it." And I'm like, "No, you're not well enough to chop it, Dad. I'll chop it." Anyway, I said to him, "I'll do you a deal. I'll chop the wood. You restore the dining suite that's out the back that needs to be done." So he was happy with that for now. Don't know how long it'll last. But yes, I tried to make a deal with him. So I'm hoping, the plan is, if it doesn't rain, I'm going to go and chop some every day. I still need to cart more up from down the back. At this rate, I think it's going to take me at least a month if I work on it every day. There's 4 gum trees. So that should be enough for Mum and Dad for winter. That should be more than enough. So I'm really happy with that. So that's where else I've been, doing the firewood thing. And then yesterday when I was going to post the items again, almost sort of last minute, I went to help a girlfriend hem her granddaughter's school dress that was almost dragging on the ground. She didn't know how to hem, so I went to hem that for her. And then we had some family stuff happen that was a bit of a surprise, so I had to sort of process that. So I didn't get to upload again yesterday. So the plan is I'm going to go in now, cook some dinner, and then start posting some items. And as I said earlier, I don't have a lot today, but there should be more through the week. Yeah, I think that's it, guys. I've just been prattling now. Thank you so much for joining me, for being here with me. Thank you for listening to me prattle on and on and on about goodness knows what. Hopefully now that I'm feeling a lot better in myself, I'm not as sick as I was. We still haven't got to the bottom of it. I'm still having a heap of tests done to work out what's going on. But at the moment I'm feeling good. So while I'm feeling like this, I'm going to try and be more active on here. I'm going to try and share more. As I've mentioned earlier in previous videos, my aim this year is to try and share some tutorials, some things. I was asked to teach the pinch pots. Now I have done them myself before years ago. Here's one, this poor one, oh my goodness. Your hair will curl when I show you this. I ended up sharing it with my bird friends, so they built a nest in it. So this is one of the pinch pots I made quite a few years ago. It was all eco-dyed fabrics. You can see I've stitched it, but my bird friends were having trouble keeping their nest in the tree, and the only thing I could find that was soft enough that would help them was my pinch pot. So this is what this is what I've got left. I have made them many years ago, as you can see. I've made some even before that. If you go all the way back through my Instagram a few years, you'll see some that I've done. This was taught to me by Kristen Peterson of Altered State Studio. She taught me these pinch pots. Pinch pots are quite common at the moment, as you'll know, and Beck of So Be Curated is selling some kits for her pinch pots. Now, I've been asked to teach them. At this stage, I'm not prepared to, because it's not mine. It's not my design. It's not my original idea. As I said, the ones that I originally learnt were from Kristen. You can always contact her. I'm sure she would be happy to share her instructions. Or you can contact Beck of So Be Curated, and she has kits available with little instruction booklets in them that look fantastic. Yeah, I'd recommend probably going to Beck. You get the kit, you get the instructions. Kristen's is a video, a tutorial. As I said, you could always contact her at Altered State Studios. She could potentially be more than happy to share her tutorial with you as well. But I'm going to try and come up with some of my own stuff again. I haven't for many years, not since I was teaching. So that's the plan. So yeah, I don't know what else to say except thank you again, and I hope you're all well. I hope you've had a wonderful weekend and you have a great week ahead of you, and stay safe, guys. Be kind to each other too, and I look forward to seeing you here next time. Thank you again for joining me.